The first sign that change is already underway is not a miracle. It is that your old pattern has started feeling more painful than the risk of leaving it. You still repeat it sometimes. You still check, delay, over-explain, or disappear. But the behavior no longer feels invisible. You notice the cost while it is happening. That discomfort may feel like failure. It is often awareness arriving before skill. This message will show you 6 signs that the change you asked for is already moving through your life. The signs become stronger as we continue. Sign 6 is the one that proves the change can survive an imperfect day. I will also show you 3 false signs that feel exciting, but do not necessarily indicate transformation. Sign 1. The old pattern no longer gives the same relief. The conversation you used to chase leaves you emptier. The scrolling stops distracting you. The purchase does not change the emotion. The excuse sounds weak even while you say it. A coping behavior loses power before a healthier behavior feels natural. That middle period can be uncomfortable. Do not interpret discomfort as a command to return. Ask what the old pattern was doing for you. Did it reduce loneliness? Protect you from judgment? Create a sense of control? You cannot remove a coping behavior responsibly without understanding the need underneath it. If checking their page reduced uncertainty, replace it with a written reality statement. I do not have the answer, and checking does not create one. If procrastination protected you from evaluation, replace it with a 10-minute private start and a realistic release date. Meet the need in a less costly way. Sign 2. You notice the trigger before the reaction. The body tightens, the thought appears, the urge rises. Then, for 1 second, you can see it. That second is not dramatic, but it contains a choice that did not exist when the pattern was fully automatic. Do not demand a perfect response inside that second. Begin with delay. 1 breath, 10 minutes, a walk around the room, a sentence written but not sent. Delay is not avoidance when it prevents an impulsive action and creates room for evidence. Use an if-then plan. If I feel rejected, then I will wait before changing my goal. If criticism makes me want to hide, then I will identify one useful point before deciding. If I want to spend from emotion, then I will leave the item for 24 hours. Specific plans give the pause a direction. Sign 3. Approval has started losing its power over one area of your life. You may still want people to understand. You may still feel disappointed when they do not. But you complete the work, state the need, or choose the boundary without waiting for unanimous permission. This does not mean becoming arrogant or rejecting feedback. It means knowing the difference between information and authority. Feedback can inform your choice. It does not own your identity. Ask, whose approval am I treating as permission to exist? A parent, partner, audience, employer, stranger. Then ask what value you are protecting by making the choice anyway. Honesty, health, purpose, respect. Values create a steadier direction than applause. If the first 3 signs sound familiar, subscribe. The change is not complete, but it is no longer imaginary. Now the signs begin moving from awareness into evidence. Sign 4. You are repeating one small action after the emotion fades. Anyone can make a large promise in an intense moment. Change becomes credible on an ordinary day. 10 minutes of practice. 1 recorded expense. 1 boundary repeated calmly. 1 walk when motivation is low. The action may look too small for the future you want. But identity is built from evidence, and repeated small evidence is easier for the mind to trust than one dramatic declaration. Choose one behavior you can score with a yes or no. Did you open the document? Did you move for 10 minutes? Did you wait before reacting? Do not score your worth. Score the action. Aim for return, not perfection. If you miss a day, restart at the next available moment. The ability to return is part of the habit you are building. Sign 5. Your relationships are reorganizing around your clearer boundaries. Some people move closer because honesty makes the connection safer. Some resist because your confusion once gave them easier access. Some relationships become quieter without a dramatic ending. Change in you alters the agreement, even when nobody names it. Look for patterns. Can the person hear no without punishment? Can conflict lead to repair? Does accountability produce changed behavior? A relationship does not need perfection. It needs enough safety for truth to exist. Do not use growth as a reason to remove everyone who challenges you. Ask whether the challenge invites responsibility or requires self-betrayal. A wise friend may make you uncomfortable. A harmful pattern makes honesty dangerous. Your boundary should describe your action. If the conversation becomes disrespectful, I will leave. If the deadline changes, I will communicate rather than disappear. Boundaries are most credible when they do not attempt to control another person. Now sign 6, the strongest sign. A setback no longer becomes your identity. You send the message you promised not to send. You miss the routine. You freeze during the conversation. The old story immediately says, "See, nothing changed." But this time, you notice the story, repair what you can, and return. The change is not that you never fall into the old pattern. The change is that the pattern no longer receives unlimited time. The distance between drifting and returning becomes shorter. This is why sign 6 matters more than a perfect week. Perfection can exist only under controlled conditions. Return proves the change can survive real life. Use a repair sequence. Name what happened without exaggeration. Identify the impact. Make one repair. Adjust the cue or plan. Then continue. I missed 3 days because the task was too large. I will restart with 10 minutes and prepare the document the night before. I reacted harshly. I will apologize for the action, listen to the impact, and pause earlier next time. Repair produces information. Shame produces hiding. Now count your signs. 1. The old pattern gives less relief. 2. You notice the trigger. 3. Approval has less authority. 4. One small action repeats. 5. Relationships reorganize. 6. Setbacks no longer define you. You do not need all 6. One sign may be the first opening, but do not use a sign as proof that the work is complete. Use it as encouragement to protect what has begun. Now let us expose the 3 false signs. False sign 1. Emotional intensity. Feeling powerful after a speech, meditation, or breakthrough moment can be meaningful. But intensity is not the same as integration. Ask what behavior remains 3 days later. False sign. 2. Constant interpretation. You see every delay, number, conversation, and coincidence as confirmation. Meaning can support reflection, but constant searching can become anxiety. A helpful sign returns you to values and action. It does not make you afraid to choose without another sign. False sign 3. Impulsive destruction. Ending every relationship, quitting without preparation, or making a large purchase can feel like new energy. Real change sometimes requires bold action, but bold does not mean unexamined. Check safety, evidence, consequence, and responsibility. Here is the grounded test. Does the change make you more honest, more responsible, more compassionate, and better able to act according to values? If it only makes you feel special, urgent, or superior, slow down. Now apply the 6 signs to your body. Persistent symptoms deserve qualified care, but daily patterns still reveal change. Are you noticing exhaustion sooner? Resting before collapse? Asking for help before resentment? The body often receives the new boundary before the outside world understands it. Apply the signs to work. Are you finishing smaller units? Publishing before perfecting? Recovering faster from low response? The change may not be visible in numbers yet. It may be visible in your relationship with the process. Apply the signs to money. Are you looking at the numbers more honestly? Waiting before emotional spending? Saving a small amount consistently? Change begins when avoidance loses authority. Apply the signs to relationships. Are you choosing consistency over potential? Asking direct questions? Allowing trust to grow at the speed of evidence? A calmer choice can feel less exciting when chaos was familiar. Here is a pattern interrupt. Peace may feel boring before it feels safe. Do not create a crisis merely to return to an emotional level your nervous system recognizes. Now create your 6-sign scorecard for 7 days. You need only 6 short columns or 6 lines. Old pattern gave less relief. Trigger noticed. Approval released. Small action completed. Boundary respected. Returned after setback. Place one check mark where evidence exists. Blank spaces are information, not failure. At the end of the week, choose the weakest sign and create one support for it. If triggers remain invisible, keep a simple log. If the small action does not repeat, reduce its size or change the cue. If boundaries collapse under guilt, prepare a sentence for the 10 minutes after you say no. If setbacks become identity, create a written repair sequence. Support is more useful than self-attack. Now give each sign one practical support. For sign 1, when the old pattern gives less relief, do not simply remove it. Replace the function. If scrolling softened loneliness, schedule safe contact or a walk. If spending changed emotion, create a waiting list and another form of comfort. A replacement respects the need without repeating the cost. For sign 2, when you begin noticing triggers, make the cue visible. Write the 3 most common triggers: time, person, place, or feeling. After criticism. After 10 at night. When money arrives. A named cue is easier to prepare for. For sign 3, when approval loses power, choose a private standard. Did the work serve its purpose? Was the boundary honest? Did you act according to values? Outside response still contains information, but your private standard prevents every opinion from rewriting your direction. For sign 4, protect the small action through environment. Put the tool where you can see it. Reduce the number of steps. Set a timer. Prepare the beginning the night before. Discipline becomes more reliable when the environment remembers with you. For sign 5, decide the access level each relationship has earned. Full trust, growing trust, limited contact, or no contact where necessary. Access can change with evidence. You do not need to label every person good or bad in order to choose a safer distance. For sign 6, keep a repair card. Name it, repair it, adjust it, return. Read it when shame says the setback proves everything. Shame prefers vague identity attacks. Repair requires specific behavior. These supports matter because insight is fragile in the environment that created the old pattern. A beautiful realization may last 1 hour. A prepared cue can help 1 week later. Now identify your highest risk moment, not your worst year. The repeated 10-minute window where the change is usually lost. After waking, after conflict, after receiving money, before sleep, before publishing. Your plan becomes stronger when it is built for a moment rather than an entire personality. Write, when this moment arrives, I will choose one action that is visible and small. Then identify the obstacle. If the obstacle is fatigue, reduce the step. If it is access to the old behavior, change the environment. If it is fear, prepare a reversible test. If it is loneliness, prepare safe contact. Change often fails because the plan was written for the motivated version of you. Write this one for the tired, disappointed, ordinary version. That is the version who decides whether the new behavior gains history. There is one more measurement. Ask how quickly you tell the truth after you drift. Minutes, hours, days, or months. Shortening that delay is progress. You cannot repair what you refuse to name. At the end of each day, use one sentence. Today I noticed blank, and tomorrow I will support blank. No judgment, awareness, and preparation. There is also a seventh thing, but it is not a sign. It is a decision. Protect the beginning from people who demand proof before roots exist. You do not need to announce every change. Let repetition make the announcement. Within the next 48 hours, collect 3 pieces of evidence. Complete one small action. Refuse one old reaction. Repair one unfinished thing. These actions give the change a physical history. Do not expect the external result immediately. The application may remain unanswered. The relationship may remain uncertain. Healing may be uneven. The first transformation is that your life is no longer completely paused until the outcome arrives. Before you go, identify your strongest sign. Which one made you feel seen? Then identify the sign you need to protect next. Awareness without support fades. Awareness with structure becomes a practice. The change you asked for may already be underway, not because every circumstance changed, but because the old circumstance is meeting a different response. Write this in the comments. The change is moving through my choices. Like this message if it helped you identify real evidence, and subscribe for more spiritual motivation grounded in clarity and action. You do not need all 6 signs tonight. You need one sign, one support, and one next choice.